So today I'm going to Stratford upon Avon. I'm really pink. Why am I so pink? Because I've been invited by Intel to check out a performance of the Royal Shakespeare Company, right? Of the Tempest. It's been techified. Yeah? It's like super sci-fi Shakespeare, which is interesting because I sucked at school at English and didn't do too much Shakespeare. Shakespeare was never really my thing, but this has got me interested. The word sci-fi, Shakespeare, techified, motion capture, performance capture. I want to know more. Apparently Andy Serkis was involved. So yeah, I'll get on a train for Serkis. Wouldn't you? Well, hello, I have landed in Stratford upon Avon, the world of Shakespeare. Well, not the world of Shakespeare, this isn't like some sort of Harry Potter, Warner Brothers tour or anything like that. No, I'm here in Stratford upon Avon, which, FYI, unbelievably cute. It's like this little Tudor village, just full of little shops. I kind of really want to go Christmas shopping, but that's not why we're here. We are here because I'm going to see a performance of The Tempest, which has now been judged. Don't even know how to spell the word, but I'm just going to say it has been judged with the power of Intel and technology to make it more exciting and kind of more visceral. If they can techify it to draw me in and lure me in with the promise of new technology and fancy bells and whistles, 100% down with that. I'm all for things being adapted and changed and made more sci-fi. Just cool. Hi Tawny, how are you doing?
Hi Julia, good to see you.
This is, okay, I am such an unbelievable noob about all of this. Shakespeare, not the tech bit, but the Shakespeare. So I'm going to see this performance of The Tempest that's a little bit different. Can you just tell me like a little bit about, like, first of all, what's the plot of The Tempest? Because then I think all this is going to start making sense.
Sure. So it's pretty straightforward. The Prospero was a duke in Italy, and he was overthrown. They dumped him in a boat with his young daughter, and he was shipwrecked on an island. The island has magical powers and magical capabilities. So on the island, Prospero's magic, so he's a magician basically and wizard.
Okay, all right, yeah.
He has a sprite who works for him, whose name is Ariel. Ariel is also magic. Ariel's not a human. And then there's other creatures, but they're sort of the sources of magic. Once he's on the island, the story has basically three primary plot lines. The enemies of Prospero, the people who overthrew him, are all shipwrecked at the beginning of the story and land on the island. Yeah. So there's a vengeance plot.
Okay.
Prospero, plans to get his revenge on those who have wronged him and take back his dukedom.
Okay.
There's a romance plot. In the intervening years on the island, Prospero's daughter has grown up, and a lithe young man lands on shore.
Lithe? So.
Yeah. And she falls head over heels in love with him, so there's a romance plot with his daughter. And then finally there's a comic murder plot, as one does. And
so there's quite a lot all going on at once. There's a lot of balls in the air here.
Those are the three main plots, yeah. So.
Okay. And okay, so this kind of room completely makes sense. So this is like an installation they've done that's meant to be where Prospero kind of lives a la mid-90s. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, his daughter's bedroom as well over there, which is, this is so fun though. I mean, I think it's just honestly amazing. It's reminding me a lot of Lost, a little bit. Yeah. If you remember the TV show Lost. How did this sort of collaboration with Intel and Imaginarium sort of come about?
So they reached out to us, and so my team, like I said, my team has been working for about 10 years, working with storytellers and technology, and typically what we do is just I wheel in a bunch of kit and some ideas that we have about what...
A bucket load of kit.
And say, okay, this is what it can do, and I don't know if, here's the computer, here's what it's capable of doing.
Yeah.
Is that useful to you? And that's usually where we start the dialogue.
Okay.
And then the storytellers tell me, well, I'd like it to do this. I'd like my characters to be able to do this, or I'd like, and then we work together to see whether I can make the technology make that possible.
It sounds quite complicated. How much cabling is going on behind stage?
Just rather a lot. It is quite complicated.
What if it doesn't work on performance day? Then what happens?
It's reasonably stable, but it's definitely.
Because I mean, you're not having to unplug every day and
No.
so at least you just don't
that's-
touch any of the cabling. No one touch that plug over there.
Yeah, nothing. No one's allowed to unplug anything.
Someone's like hair drying. You're like, you have just disabled Ariel. The hell's wrong with you? Stop trying your hair.
I so wish that wasn't possible. We run 2 complete systems. So we actually have 2 parallel systems. The show is running twice at all times.
That's so clever.
So
That's what people should do.
Switch back and forth.
Yeah. So I think it would be kind of cool to know. Obviously, it's not like Andy Serkis performing in it, but obviously it's his company. What was kind of his involvement? Can you tell us?
Sure. So we brought in Imaginarium about 18 months ago, and we were experimenting with a bunch of different partners. That obviously they're phenomenal knowledge in motion capture.
And Andy Serkis.
And Andy Serkis.
Obviously,
Yes.
what does he not know about it? I mean, he's had so many balls on his face. Insert joke.
Yeah. He also, I think as well, he really completely embodies the idea that motion capture performance is performance.
Yeah.
And it's entirely about the actor, and it's entirely about just capturing and learning. You're learning a character just like you would have learned Julius Caesar, and you're figuring out how they move, and you're figuring out how to communicate in their body.
Yeah.
And so Andy's team designed all of the avatars. They worked with Steven and took his designs and executed them in this sort of digital world of avatars. And Andy himself worked with Mark in the beginning, because Mark didn't have experience as a motion capture performer, and so Andy and Mark worked together to sort of learn the sort of physicality of that and learning the system and the suits.
So tell us a little bit about just the level of Intel tech that's kind of gone into this, because I feel like it's a lot, from what you're saying.
It's a lot. We set up a series of machines. We actually start with gaming machines, so actually pretty accessible.
Yay, video games make everything better.
Everything.
Yeah.
They're the new machine, i7 6700K, because everybody cares about that.
Check you up.
But the kit is pretty much a gaming machine. And that's what we use to take all the data from Ariel. So the motion capture suit has all the information coming in, the gyroscopic information.
Yeah.
All that's translated by the gaming machine into Unreal, Epic's gaming engine, and mapped onto the characters.
Yeah.
And then we move out of the gaming world into the Xeon processors. And that's where we are taking all of that sort of visual information and passing it out through we have 27 HD projectors, and we're driving all that information. So we use a lot of the Xeon cores in order to drive through.
Wow, your electricity bill's quite high.
Yeah.
Thank God you don't have to pay.
Exactly, yeah, no. I don't even want to see it.
I mean, what do you think? What do you think Shakespeare would think of this? I mean, was he always someone who kind of innovated, do you think? Is he kind of would you say Shakespeare was an early adopter?
Oh, here we go. We can do that as a soundbite. Yeah. Shakespeare was an early adopter. Actually, no, he was. And I think that I think in all of the performances, he would push the boundaries with whatever he could, and that would be technology and new kinds of performance, new stories and new approaches. And I think that Gregory Doran, who knows more about Shakespeare than Shakespeare. I sort of have, we have Andy Serkis, who knows. If you need to know more about motion capture than Andy Serkis, you don't.
Just WhatsApp Andy Serkis. He'll get back to you right away.
And Gregory is very much like that about Shakespeare. And I think that he's convinced, and I think he's absolutely right, that if Shakespeare was alive, he would be elbow deep in this technology.
He would be behind the stage, knee deep in cables, labeling plugs, getting that stuff to work to get the best. That's cool.
This is the kind of magic that I think you see him writing on the page, and being able to bring that to life, I think would absolutely thrill him.
If there's anyone kind of out there who is complete Shakespeare noob, right, and is moderately terrified by the prospect of maybe going to see a Shakespeare play, or what is it about this performance? Can you sort of explain it in just a sentence that would inspire anybody to go and see it?
No pressure.
No pressure, but don't.
Yeah, but if you screw it up, then
that would
no
all
one's
judge
going to go
you.
see it. So it's a story about revenge and forgiveness. And it's somebody who was wronged, who finds themselves with all of the power at their disposal.
Ooh, okay.
And they have to make a decision whether to deploy that power for vengeance or whether to let it go and forgive.
Ever the age-old question, do I smite the people who were just really crappy to me,
Yes.
or do I take the higher ground?
Yeah.
But feeling bad feels so good sometimes.
Sometimes.
Wow, okay. Well, Tawny, thank you so much, actors. I absolutely cannot wait to see it later and just see
Excellent.
everything you put into it, all your hard work. But thanks so much for actors.
Excellent. Thanks, Julia. It's been
Thank
great.
you. Okay, so I am just about to go in and actually see the performance of The Tempest. I am very excited to see just how techy it's going to be and magical. This is a noob. I am literally breaking a Shakespeare cherry. Just come outside from watching The Tempest. It really fascinating to see how they've used all the motion capture technology in amongst kind of other kind of normal kind of theatre techniques as well. And I was trying to actually look on Ariel like what parts of his suits, and you can kind of see like a little bit of kind of the wiring, and there's obviously like cameras around that sort of capture the movement. But it means that obviously like every performance then, when he's using that, because it's not just pre-recorded and played out, it can actually be done specifically, and you can kind of see that sort of motion as he's doing it. And then there was like one point in the play where he actually has like one of the head camera rigs, and so you can actually see his like face and mouth kind of performance in with his body as well, which is really interesting. I am back at my really small hotel, like a weird little Japanese pod. So I've just been kind of thinking a little bit about the whole performance. I thought it was really fascinating concept, and I think it's really interesting that Intel are doing this and kind of bringing all these things together, because theatre's so live and seemingly untechy. So to kind of bring those sort of things together, I'm quite excited that Intel are sort of getting involved in the arts in this way, but like from a tech angle. I think that's kind of cool. I think that's really an interesting concept. I'm like really pleased they invited me to come up, because I honestly, I wouldn't come to see a Shakespeare play, I just wouldn't. And it was really eye-opening to the point where I would come and watch something again. Maybe you haven't kind of seen Shakespeare before and you're a bit nerdy like me, and you can appreciate the tech and I was half imagining all the like machines running behind and all the cabling and everything. I was like, that's some impressive, I bet there's some impressive cabling back there, yes. If more tech gets kind of put into the theatre, I think I'd probably watch more, because I find that quite an exciting juxtaposition of like raw live performances and having tech that enhances it, or magnifies it, or changes it in some way. I'm just gonna sit here in this really small room and contemplate life for a while. Although I'm really hungry and the Food Network's on, and it's making me want to eat burgers.